Hey everyone, I am Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her podcast. I have an amazing guest with us tonight, and all of us, we should be on point with our finances, our taxes, and dealing with the IRS. Many things like that. When you have a large and a small business, it's a lot of things that people aren't aware of, but you're going to be aware of it tonight with Miss Octavia Conner. Hi, Octavia, how are you?
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm excited too. I really am. But first, I want to get right to it and I want to get to know you. How long have you been an accountant and how long have you have this business on your own when you ventured out?
So, I've been in the accounting industry for 20 years. I started as just a bookkeeper, data entry person, climbed the ladder to become a CFO for a pharmaceutical company. And then I decided to venture out on my own and I started Say Yes to Profits over 12 years ago.
Oh wow. I love the name.
Thank you.
I do. It's very catching and it's very motivating to me.
Yes. That was the whole goal. I literally was walking around my office like, what do I want my clients to do? What do I want my clients to do? I want my clients to say yes to profits. I want my clients to say yes to profits. So, yeah.
Yes. So before you actually started your own personal business, what are some of the things that you went through personally that motivated you to want to help others even more?
Well, I was broke, I was busted, and I was totally disgusted.
Oh my God.
And I'm not ashamed to say it.
I know that's
Um,
right.
so honestly, when I jumped out into the world of entrepreneurship, I had just left a corporate career as a CFO for, as I mentioned before, $1 billion pharmaceutical company. I actually helped them achieve that. And so I was like, I just know I'm going to be successful, right? I just know I got it. I prayed about it and everything. And yeah, it didn't happen like that. After about 12 to 14 months, I actually found myself broke. And when I say broke, I mean like a negative $152 in my bank account. And
Wow.
yeah, that was the account that I would look at because the other ones I didn't want to open them. I was just over it.
Mhm.
I had just built my house from the ground up. We were actually 1 month away from foreclosure. And I was also hiding my truck in the garage so that they wouldn't pick it
Wow.
up. So I was like really broke. I couldn't even honestly afford a Happy Meal. Like I remember going to McDonald's and my kids in the back seat and they're all excited because they're about to get something to eat and get to the register and my card decline. Um
Man.
yeah. And so if it wasn't for my grandmother, they literally probably wouldn't have ate that day or it would have been peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Who knows? But we were really broke. And I had to take a step back and I had to reevaluate how I was handling my business, what I was doing, what I wasn't doing. I had to study successful $1 million entrepreneurs. I had to change my mindset to that of a millionaire, even though I wasn't there. And so
Right.
after doing all of that, I rebranded the company to Say Yes to Profits because I was like, if I had to go through all of this and I had to develop these financial strategies and these systems and all of this, other business owners needed it as well. And so I rebranded to Say Yes to Profits. And that's what we do today. We help businesses say yes to profits, but really have profits and cash flow in the bank.
Wow. When we first starting a business, a lot of us aren't familiar with owning a business and we've probably 9 times out of 10 never been surrounded by many people that have been business owners to be able to mentor us and lead us in the right direction. Or sometimes people run businesses and they've never been educated and they just been going with the flow.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
what are some of the things that you have like as far as advice of people just starting out with their business and for them to not make those mistakes in the beginning? Because a lot of people don't know that you have to have like build revenues, like as far as like have extra income at least 6 months advance, just in case if you have those small months and things not rolling the way you want it to, but you can still sustain and pay your bills, you know?
Absolutely. One of the things I recommend, which ties into exactly what you just mentioned, is saving aggressively. And then I would also say not focusing so much on the revenue that you need and want to earn that you don't think about the profit. A lot of business owners honestly know how to secure the bag because they are an expert in whatever services and products that they're providing. And so being able to go out and get the money, right, secure the bag, that's not a problem. The problem centers around keeping more money in the business. And so I often tell entrepreneurs to focus on revenue, but also laser focus on profit and making sure you hit your profit goals. And when you hit your profit goals, you also begin to save aggressively. And so now you get to the point ultimately where you have at least a 6 month cash reserve.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like one of my mistakes when I first started. Girl, I was struggling by the dime.
I was too. I was too.
I was like, oh my God. It was like just pay by pay each time. It was just like, man, why I keep getting in this position. And you know, when you start off, things just run so slow. But
Yes.
then what I've learned over the years, I have through my daycare business, my
Mhm.
slow I learned at that like real late that my slow months was winter time.
Mhm.
Girl, it was a point in time I was so broke during the winter. I'm like, how am I about to do this? How am I about to pay for stuff? You can't spend holidays like you want to. It's like you
Yeah.
couldn't do nothing. So I learned when I made more during the summer to start saving in the summer and preparing for the winter. But it took me a long time to figure that out, though.
Absolutely. What you just mentioned is centered around peak times or peak months and peak seasons. All
Yeah.
businesses have the peak months and the slow months. And what you ended up having to do, it sounds like, is realize when your slow months are or when your slow seasons are and prepare for that. So that's honestly a financial strategy that a lot of business owners don't even think about.
I know, because sometimes when the money come in, I know I was young. I was like 23, 24. So when the money coming in, girl, I'm taking trips,
Yeah.
on
You
vacation.
balling, not thinking about next week.
I wasn't thinking about doing none of that stuff or thinking like longevity of anything. If I think one of the biggest things that I do regret is not having a whole life insurance policy back then.
Yeah.
That's probably like one of my regrets from me knowing what I know now. I wish I knew
Mhm,
then. So
mhm.
that was like one of the things because they cover your business just as much as you.
Yep, 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 yep. And you can actually borrow money, well, depending on the policy, right? I
Yeah.
always say speak to your financial advisor, but depending on the type of policy, you may be able to borrow money from the policy that sometimes you don't even have to pay back, or it is the terms are better with paying it back than other funding options out there.
Yes, yes. Do you sometimes recommend that to a lot of your customers to do that, especially in the beginning?
So honestly, it depends on the business. It
Okay.
depends on the business. It depends on their financial situation on their personal side. Before I'll recommend any type of outside like funding, I always like to take a comprehensive look at everything. But in some cases, it may be beneficial, and then other cases, it may not.
Yes. So, what are some of the things that, as far as like advice that you could give people? Because during the pandemic, a lot of business owners gained a lot of money, and some of them took losses and they lost their whole company and everything. Like, if
Mhm.
we were to come into another pandemic, what is some of the advice that you have for people to start preparing for it now, just in case if it did come?
Oh, there are so many things that people can do. The first, I would say, and we kind of mentioned this earlier, is building a reserve, building a cash reserve. A lot of businesses actually went out of business due to not having enough cash flow. And so what tends to happen is that a company will earn revenue, but then they'll spend it on sometimes things that are not yielding a return, or money is just going out faster than it would come in. And so now is the time to really focus on building at least at a minimum a 6-month cash reserve, so that if anything ever happens in the future, you're prepared and you're not waiting or really needing all of the things that are out there to keep your business afloat during challenging times. So that would be the very, very first thing I would recommend for anyone.
Wow. So when someone is beginning of having a business, do you recommend them to get a LLC or a S corp, or does it really depends on the type of company they're starting?
So I could answer this two ways. One thing I would say is that it depends on your business, right? However, most entrepreneurs start as an LLC and then later on they switch to an S corp. If you're going to switch to an S corp, you want to make sure that you are set up correctly and you're able to abide by the requirements of an S corp. For example, as the owner of the company, you're supposed to pay what the IRS considers a reasonable compensation, and you're supposed to pay yourself that as a W 2 employee of the company. A lot of entrepreneurs will switch to an S corp and they will not do that. And unfortunately, S corps are heavily scrutinized more than any other business structure. And you can honestly be audited for something called unreasonable compensation. Right? You're taking money out of your business. You're not doing it under a payroll company as a W 2 employee. And then you get audited. And now you have all these taxes that you have to pay because you didn't handle it correctly. And so, if a company is going to be an S corp, make sure that you can do everything that you have to do as an S corp, because if it gets taken away, I think it's up to 5 years before you can ever get that back. An S corp is very beneficial. There are a lot of things that you can take advantage of, a lot of additional tax write-offs that sometimes are not LLCs are not privy to, but again, you just want to make sure that you manage that correctly.
Man, so as far as keeping track of like as like your taxes and things, what would you recommend besides, a lot of people use QuickBooks, some people use other things cuz a lot of people don't understand how important it is to separate the two from your personal and your business. And then next thing you know, they bring you all these receipts and some stuff just not matching together with what you were supposed to be spending, what your business and what was actually personal.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot over the years. They'll bring, like you said, all of these receipts, and you have to say you can't write that off, and they're like, "Why? Why can't I spent the money?" It's like, well, that was more personal than it was business. So the first thing I highly recommend for all businesses is to separate their business from their personal. You should have a bank account specifically for your business, and everything related to your company, it should flow in and out of that account. You should pay yourself, even if you are a W 2 employee. I mean, not a W 2, even if you are an LLC, you still need to pay yourself, right? The only difference is that you can't and should not pay yourself as a W 2 employee as an LLC. You could just make a transfer from your business to your personal, or you can write a check from your business to your personal, right? So that's the first thing I recommend, separating your business from your personal and keeping them separate. The second thing I recommend is tax planning. A lot of business owners wait until the end of the year to think about their taxes, and then they feel like they want to cry, or they're very stressed out when they have this huge tax bill and they're like, well, where am I going to get this money from? Right?
Mhm.
So if they actually take a step back and do tax planning, then the right tax plan will identify how to pay the smallest legal amount possible in taxes throughout the year. And then when it's time to file their taxes, they, in most cases, don't have this huge tax bill. So those will be the first two.
Okay. So when as you being an accountant, all accountants don't do this. Some do, some don't. Will you be able to prioritize and manage different companies' finances as far as telling them what to buy and what not to buy, and say, you know, you don't have enough money for that vacation,
Mhm.
things of that nature. Because sometimes it's difficult to find accountants that actually be on you and be consistent with it for you to actually be able to enhance your finances and be able to actually see your income coming in. However, voiding you from making mistakes as far as you spending.
Right. Yeah. I often say all accountants are not created equal. Okay.
Yes.
What we do at Say Yes to Profits, we offer something called concierge CFO services. And basically, what this includes is a comprehensive service that covers everything. Right. And so when a client comes into our space, they receive a CFO that's fully dedicated to showing them the financial strategies, the financial systems, the solutions to take them from one place to the next place. Like our whole goal is to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be. But then also they receive a tax strategist. And this tax strategist does the tax planning with them. They go over their estimated quarterly taxes. And throughout the year, they're telling them, listen, I want you to invest here. I want you to spend here. I want you to do X, X, and X so that you pay the smallest legal amount possible in taxes. And this is for all of our clients under the concierge CFO services. And then last, they receive a bookkeeper. And the whole responsibility and goal of the bookkeeper is to keep their books in compliance with the IRS so that they don't have to do any of the bookkeeping. The bookkeeper handles that for them. So I recommend, honestly, finding an accounting firm that will allow you to have all of the services in one place so that you as an entrepreneur, you're not trying to have this person meet this person and this person talk to this person. You don't have to do all of that. Everything is in one place and everything is working at that one place for your benefits. And that's how we serve our clients.
That is amazing because it's so rare to find people that actually do all of that. I wish I had that a long time ago because I will have things totally, completely different from now. Do you guys also help with as far as business credit as well?
So we don't have a service centered around business credit. What
Okay.
I normally do, because sometimes I get this question, if a client asks me about it, I'll definitely tell them how I built my business credit,
Okay.
and just kind of give them the insights on that. But as far as a service for it, no. We try to
Okay.
stay in that financial consulting, financial coaching, and accounting field.
Okay, got you. That's explainable. Yes. So can you explain to people, because sometimes people will have their own small business, and say for instance you only have like 1 to 3 staff, or maybe even just yourself. Can you
Mhm.
explain to them how can they pay themselves? Because a lot of people know that they always say you have to pay yourself, you have to pay yourself, but
Mhm.
sometimes people don't hear the details of it on how to pay themselves and how it could be credible for them at the end of the year of them actually filing their taxes.
This is a really, really good question. And so, what I recommend is that business owners get crystal clear on the exact dollar amount needed for their business, and they make sure they're including their salary. What tends to happen for most business owners, they'll create a budget or they'll say, I need to earn X amount of dollars. But unfortunately, that amount doesn't include what they need to pay themselves as a CEO. And so, therefore, their personal life is in a tumultuous, struggling state because they're not receiving enough money from their business to live comfortably. So let's just say you are a business owner and you know that every month your company needs to earn $10,000 to cover all of your expenses, right? And
Mhm.
you know that on your personal side, you need to bring in at a minimum 2,500 to live comfortably, to be able to pay all your bills and have a little money extra left over. Then what you need to focus on is earning, I think that's $12,500, right?
Mhm.
Focus on earning that amount so that now you've covered your salary or whatever you need to pay yourself, and you're able to cover all of your expenses in your business.
Got you. A lot of times people sneak though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sometimes they would like sneak and get the money, but they have to like really understand the consequences that you will have to pay at the
Yes.
end of the day from you doing those certain things, because we have to learn how to leverage and be able to continue on with our business and not suffer, because
Yes.
a lot of us suffer in silence, and we need to figure out ways on how to manage the money so that we can able to see more.
Absolutely. And honestly, if a business really wants to reach its fullest potential, so whatever that entrepreneur dream is, if you really want to reach your fullest potential, you have to build your business on a solid financial foundation, not on
Okay.
shaky ground, not giving the IRS more money than you really should. A lot of business owners overpay in taxes. They give the IRS what they're supposed to give them plus a tip, right? Not
Yes.
doing that. Business owners have to really get a handle on their finances. I often say if you don't control your money, it will control you. And so you'll find yourself doing things you're not supposed to do, sneaking and all type of different things because you really haven't gained a firm grasp on your finances. And so they're determining every decision you make, and it's not in a good way.
No, it's not.
Mhm.
This is one of the things that I see a lot on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. A lot of people want to purchase a car.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when they purchase a car, they say, "Oh, your car is a tax write-off."
Mhm.
So, can you explain the process of people actually seeing the tax write off? Because sometimes people will see it as a tax write off, and the money they spent on the vehicle, they expect to get all the money back.
So, that's the misconception. When people say tax write-offs, that doesn't mean that if you spend 1,000, you're going to get a check from the IRS from $4,000. That doesn't mean that in any shape, form, or fashion. And so, what business owners need to realize is that and then I'll talk about how to purchase the car the correct way as a business owner.
Yes.
But what business owners need to realize is that when you spend strategically on certain things, and they are expenses in your business, those expenses are called write-offs from a tax side. These expenses, in order to be a write-off or in order to be write-offs, have to be ordinary and necessary for your business and your industry. Well, once you
Yes.
earn income, right, those expenses you subtract from your income, and what's left over is something called taxable income. Your taxable income is what you want to lower. And then when you lower your taxable income, as a result, you pay less taxes. That's how that works. That doesn't mean if
Yes.
like I said, spend 1,000, get 1,000. No, 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 no,
Right.
no. It doesn't work like that. As far as a car, in order to purchase a car and receive it as a tax write-off, there's something called Section 179. And
Yes.
so with Section 179, it allows you to write off a business vehicle. Now, typically, that business vehicle should be between 6,000 and 14,000 pounds, right? In order for it to qualify. So you will be able to write off a portion of that vehicle. So you will be able to take a portion of the purchase price, subtract it from your income. It'll lower your taxable income. Now, as of this year, they have something called bonus depreciation, which allows you to write off up to 80% of the vehicle purchase price as of this year if you meet certain requirements. What you honestly want to do is when you go to the dealership, you want to have that vehicle in your company's name with your company's EIN, and then you would add that to your accounting system, and then you can write it off the correct way.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
No problem. Hopefully, I tried to make it as simple as possible.
Yes, yes, but it's needed though, because a lot of times we don't see it in too much of a or hear it in too much of a detail for them to actually know, because some people still, some things just don't register as
Right,
quickly as
right,
sometimes.
right.
Um what is the what is like some of the options you would give people when it comes to them starting an actual payroll, as far as the number of staff and the things that they should do when they first begin it?
One, they have to find the correct payroll company to use. There are several out there. We actually have a partnership with two. And what they want to be clear on before hiring team members, you want to be clear on the total cost for that person. What a lot of business owners do is think about the hourly rate. So they'll say, well, I'm going to hire an administrative assistant. I'm going to pay her $12 an hour. I'm going to have her work 30 hours a week. The total amount for that will be X, right? That's
Right.
actually not the total amount. You have to factor in, if she's going to be an employee, now you have employer taxes that you have to pay. If you're going to offer benefits, now you have that as well. If you're going to supply the equipment, now you have that as well. And so you
Mhm.
have to factor in the total cost to have employees and make sure that that's included in your budget, so that you don't hire someone and then next week, next month, you have to let them go because you don't have enough revenue coming in to cover their salary.
Yes. How would you recommend staff, well, not staff, but the owner, to actually pay on their liability taxes, federal, state, just the different angles of taxes, cuz sometimes when you get the quarterly, it's a huge lump sum depending on how many staff that you have. Would
Mhm.
you recommend them to try to pay on it monthly or weekly so they won't see a huge lump sum?
I always recommend breaking whatever that large lump sum is, or whatever your large goal is. I always recommend breaking it down to its smallest parts, because a lot of times we'll see this big amount and we're like, oh my goodness, how am I going to pay that? Or how am I going to achieve that? But if you break it down into the smallest parts, and you go bit by bit, right, it'll make it
Mhm.
easier. Like, a lot of times entrepreneurs just want to get out there and they want to go one day from a blunder to a wonder, right? And they're like, Monday they started, Tuesday, they're $1 million
Yeah.
business and they're successful. No, it doesn't work like that in anything that you do. You have to crawl before you walk, and you take your time and learn from everything that you're going through. And even with liabilities and taxes and things like that, if you know that your estimated taxes for the year is, I don't know, $12,000, then every single month you should be paying $1,000. Not wait until the $12,000 is due on Tuesday and it's Monday and you got to figure out where you're going to get this money from. No,
Mhm.
no,
It's not happening.
that's not happening. You're going to stress yourself out.
You I
No.
know, girl, when I used to see them quarterly, I'll be want to go in the corner and cry.
Yeah, exactly. No, 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 no. Don't do it that way. You're going to stress yourself out. And then not only are you going to stress yourself out, in order to make it happen, a lot of times you'll use every dollar that you have. And then now you're at this place in your business where you're like, well, how am I going to pay that now? Because I had to pay this, right? When
Yeah.
you could have just prepared and did little by little by little until you achieved whatever it was, or until you paid off whatever it was.
Yes, because it could become a headache
Mm.
And especially when you don't have a good accountant to actually guide you and educate you on exactly what you are doing. So
Right.
I like personally myself, I would recommend people to do more searches on accountants and making sure you pick and choose the right individual to help you.
Just come to say yes to profits.
Yes.
I might be
Say
biased,
yes.
but I'm just saying.
Say yes. So when you do have clients, do a lot of your clients are they virtual clients or clients that in your hometown? You have clients just everywhere?
Yes, 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 yes. So our headquarters is in Atlanta, but we have clients all over. With technology, we're able to provide them that personalized service, and they may be in New York. We have clients in Ohio. We have clients in Florida. Like they're all over. But again, they still receive that personalized support because of technology. So it doesn't matter where a client is located, we absolutely can work with them.
That's good. That's really good because sometimes it's difficult for some accountants to work with other clients in another state.
Mm-mm.
Not me, huh?
Not me. Honestly, even though we're in Atlanta, we literally have more clients outside of Georgia than in Georgia. And it has always been like that.
Mhm.
And that's how I became virtual like years ago because I used to do YouTube videos. And a lot of the people that would find us and want to work with us, they were all over and not in Georgia. Like we've just started to really build the clientele here. But most of our clients are in another state.
Wow. So what personal experience motivated you the most to continue on to help others?
I would have to say my babies. I
Aw.
have four babies. Oh, and then I just have a grandson. He just
Okay.
born. So I'm excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But honestly, I wanted to show them that, whatever your dream is, you can absolutely achieve it. As corny as it may sound, the sky is absolutely the limit. And so every day I get out there to not only show them but also leave a legacy, right? I want for my great 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 grandkids to be able to say I am living this lifestyle because my grandmother Octavia did
Mhm.
XXX, And so
Yes.
those are really when times get hard and they get hard for everyone. I just look at my ultimate mission. My ultimate goal is to place my family on a totally different financial path than we've ever been, in the history of my family. And so I let that motivate me. And I also have to say, I really want to make a change. Like there are not a lot of financial experts out there that are really educating businesses and not having business owners feel like a number,
Yes.
and they're doing more for you than what you're doing for them. Like I really want to be that change agent that shows a business how to grow and really let them know that your success equal my success and we're on this journey together.
Yes. And it's needed a lot. I'm gonna just be straightforward. A lot of people was being scammed. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are being asked, like for instance, with the ERC, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I didn't
you
even take part in that. I was like, I don't want no. You
Yeah.
know, I was
So
like, no.
it's people asking for 1800 dollars for them to even start the process, and
Mm-hmm.
then next thing you know they never even finished the process, but they already took everybody's down payment, and
Mm-hmm.
that was their way of making money, but they didn't do the finishing portions of the ERC. And then when it comes to ERC, a lot of people aren't organized in their business for
Mm-hmm.
having those staff that
Mm-hmm.
are in there, and some of them will create it,
Yeah.
but later on it'll catch up to you too.
Because guess what's happening right now? I just read an article the other night where the IRS has actually halted everything that has to do with the ERC, and they are actually going after some of the businesses that receive the credit, because there are a lot of scams out there centered around the ERC. And so the
Mhm.
IRS now, no one, the according to the article, no one can put any more applications in to receive the ERC, and now they're looking at the backlog to see who all received it, and did they really qualify for it, and those that have not, or did not qualify for it, they're actually going after them right now. And this was on a credible website.
Wow. And see, and I'm bringing that up.
Mm-hmm,
Yes,
mm-hmm,
because they were doing that a lot to a point where they make it so much to a point when they do the ERC, you know, you get so much per
mm-hmm,
staff, and
mm-hmm,
some people will get like 400,000, you know,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's a lot for you to be getting, for you to never have staff before.
Exactly. And now if you get audited, now you have to prove this, but unfortunately you really have no way, no paperwork, no nothing, no real human to prove why you took this credit. I listen, I tell my clients all the time, I don't play with the IRS and they don't play with me. Okay. We're gonna do the
Mhm.
right thing the right way the first time, because we don't want that smoke at all.
Right,
No,
right,
no parts of it. So yeah.
right, and that's it's a lot. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot to be doing, and they're not playing with nobody, and I don't think people really understand that, even when it comes to tax liens and things like that. You
Yeah.
have to make sure that your stuff is on point.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So what is some of the advice that you would give someone that currently right now they're operating a business, but they have not seek to even get an accountant, but they bounce to different people of filing their taxes every year?
I would tell them to find the person that they connect with the most and stick with that person if that individual is not just doing their taxes. A lot of times you'll have tax preparers and their only focus is preparing your taxes because it's going to be money for them. I recommend that they find someone that's going to educate them. I can't tell you the number of taxes that I've looked over the course of my career, and someone else did the taxes, and then I'll review it and they missed out on so much, or they paid too much to the IRS because they didn't do their taxes correctly, right? And so I highly recommend finding someone that's not only going to prepare your taxes but also educate you so that you use the tax codes to your advantage.
Hmm. And that is so important. It really is, because you will find yourself in a hole of like a huge mess, and then once you end up finding that person, they have to clean it up, and a lot of times people don't like to pay.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
it's going to cost more to clean it up than you would have
Yes.
paid originally.
Yes, that's my point. And
Mhm.
it does, and it costs a lot, because they're trying to help you out and get you out of this mess, because next thing you know, the IRS is going to be sending you letters left and right of so much
Mhm.
stuff.
Yep.
And now they got to clean it up for you to get clear from a lot of things. A lot of things you could get clear from, some things you have to pay back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, again, I just recommend finding someone that understands the tax codes. And there are some great accountants out there, and then there are some that are not so great. And so really doing your research and finding someone that's going to educate you, not only prepare your taxes, but really just, do your taxes like they would do their own. I guess that would be a good thing to say. Some people are just not right at all. So just someone with the track record of doing the right thing and educating business owners. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yes. So how can people contact you just in case they want to have your services?
So we are at sayyesToProfits.com. That is our website. Once they go to sayyesToProfits.com, if they're interested in working with us or just finding out more about our services, they can actually schedule a discovery session right from the website. I am on Instagram, I would probably say almost every day, at Octavia Conner, and that's Connor with an ER, Octavia Conner CFO. And so they could find me there as well.
That is amazing. Do you have any events or anything special out there for people to be able to look through or even attend?
Yes, yes. So I'm so excited. We are having a money mastery boot camp here in Atlanta, Georgia on January 20th. And the money mastery boot camp is all about helping entrepreneurs master their money, right? We're going to go over how do they diversify their income? How do they say yes to profits? How do they pay the smallest legal amount possible in taxes? Like, we're going to give them the financial strategies, the financial systems, and the solutions to make sure that in 2024 they really master their money and they really actually say yes to profits. And so you can find out more information about that by going to sayyesToProfitsBootcamp.com and definitely secure your seat for that. And then if you need something right now that's going to help you, I actually have a free plug and play spreadsheet where it goes over the plan that you need to say yes to profits. And it's called the Say
Mm,
Yes to Profits plan. Okay. And all you have to do is plug in your numbers and it spits out information that you can use to grow your business. And to get access to that, you can go to sayyesToProfitsPlan.com.
man, that is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, we really love what we do over here. Like, we know the importance of it, and we really want to, as I mentioned before, educate businesses and really help entrepreneurs stop having financial trouble and
Mm,
build your company on a solid financial foundation. And so everything we do centers around helping companies say yes to profits.
wow. Well, thank you so much, Octavia. I really appreciate you educating us on
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And everyone, thank you for tuning in to Like Her podcast. You can always play back on YouTube and even our
Thank you.
Facebook like page. And make sure you guys just check out the other interviews. A lot of people are dropping gems for free. And you can always offer and reach out to them for their services and everything to get your business life together. And thank you again, Octavia.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Good night.